Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about subtracting two-digit numbers with and without decomposing. So we're going to look at problems such as 75 minus 31 and 71 minus 35. You can see that these two subtraction problems are very different from one another, and we're going to talk about different ways to accomplish the task. The students are learning a lot of different methods. One of the methods that they've learned to do their subtraction is to use a number line. We're going to do both of those subtraction problems in just a minute using a number line. We've also taught them the arrow method, which is very similar to the number line. And again, we're going to show you what that is in just a minute. And then the last way that we're going to work today is using number models, using our own drawings of base 10 blocks. So let's start off doing 75 minus 31 using a number line. The students are all very familiar with the number line and are pretty comfortable with it. This is an open number line because there are no numbers written on it, and you can see that the arrow extends in both directions, which means that this number line does not start or end at any specific number. So what we're going to do first is we're going to put in 75. We're then going to look at the number that we are subtracting, and we're going to break that number down into unit form. So 31 is 3 tens, 1. And what we're going to do is we're going to make jumps to show that. So we're going to subtract a 10, which brings us back to 65. We're going to subtract another 10, which brings us back to 55. We're going to subtract another 10, which brings us back to 45. All we're doing when we do the number line method is we're going to subtract in one unit place at a time. The kids are very comfortable, very familiar with counting forward by tens and counting backwards by 10. Then what we're going to do is we're now going to subtract our 1 that's in the 1 column. So that brings us to 44. 75 minus 31 is equal to 44. Now I'm going to leave that on the board so that you can see what I'm about to do with the arrow method and how the two of them relate to one another. So we're keeping it the same. We've already broken our number down into unit form. So again, we're going to start with 75, and then we're going to draw an arrow to show that we are subtracting 10. And again, we're only going to subtract 1 10 at a time. It's a very important stage for the students to work through so that they can understand that we're subtracting tens. So I've now subtracted my 3 tens, but I still have a 1. So now I'm going to switch my arrow from tens to 1. And again, I'm going to arrive at the answer of 44. Now, as you may have noticed, when I first wrote these at the beginning, all I did was I reversed the numbers that were in the ones place. So this time we're going to do 71 minus 35. The process remains the same. We're going to break our number that we're subtracting down into unit form. So again, we have 3 tens. However, this time we have 5. The process on the number line again remains the same. Put our 71, and now we're being told to subtract 3 tens. So 3 backwards jumps of 10. That's 1. That's 2. and that's 3. 71, 61, 51, 41. But now we have to make 5 1 jumps going backwards. That brings us to 40. Another backwards jump of 1 brings us to 39. Another backwards jump of 1 brings us to 38. Still have 2 more backwards jumps to go. And I get to 36. So again, if we do that with the arrow method, nothing changes. We're going to start with our 71. We're going to make all of our negative 10 or minus 10 jumps first. That's 3 of them. And you can see that sometimes this takes more time than what we might think. That's why in a few minutes we're going to look at something that could be just a little bit more efficient. So minus 1 gets us to 40. Minus 1 gets us to 39. Minus 1, 38. Minus 1, 37, and we still have 1 more to go. Minus 1 gets us to 36. We got to the answer just fine. However, we can see that sometimes it takes us quite a bit of time. So let's take the time to look at those 2 subtraction problems using models. We'll start with, we'll start with 75 minus 31. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a place value chart over here. We're going to break down the number that we are subtracting from in our heads into unit form so that we can then put that into our place value chart in model form. And when I look at the number 75, I see 7 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I see 5 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I now know that I want to subtract 31 from that. So I'm going to go over to the ones column and I'm going to subtract 1, 1. I see that I want to subtract 3 tens from that, so I'm going to subtract 3 tens from the 7 tens that I have. 1, 2, 3. I'm left with 4 ones and 4 tens. I'm left with 44. Now let's look at our second problem. Our second problem was 71 minus 35. And I'm sure you're already starting to see where the issue is. So again, we're going to take our time and we're going to draw a place value chart. We're going to look at that top number. Again, we're going to break it down into unit form in our head so that we can draw it in model form. So I see 7 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and 1, 1. I know I cannot subtract 5 ones from that 1, 1. So this time I need to decompose or unbundle. The students are familiar with the idea of bundling when they take 10 ones and they combine them, put them together to end up with 1 10. This time we're going in reverse. So I'm going to unbundle a 10 and put it over here as 10 ones. And when I do that, I can see that I now have 11 ones. And from those 11 ones, I want to subtract 5. So I'll now take the time to get rid of 5 of my ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that leaves me with 6 ones. From the remaining 10s, I still have to subtract 3 of them. 1, 2, 3, which leaves me with 3 10s, or a total of 36. Let's look at another one and do that a second time. Let's take 42 and subtract 28. I'm not going to do the number line or the arrow method. We've done that. If you want to take the time, pause the video right now, please, and go ahead and do the number line or the arrow method. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my place value chart again. I'm going to break down the number that I am subtracting from into unit form in my head so that I can put that into model form on my board. So I have 4 10s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 20, 30, 40, and 2 1s. And again, I see right away that there's no way that I can subtract 8 1s from 2 1s. So what do I need to do? I need to decompose, which means to break down or unbundle one of my 10s and turn that into an equal number, which would be 10 1s. I now have 12 1s instead of my original 2, and now I see that I can do 12 minus 8. So I'm going to do my 12 minus 8 by crossing off or subtracting 8 of my 1s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm left with 4 1s. I come back over to my 10s place. I still have 3 10s, but I still need to subtract 2 10s from that. Subtract 1 10, subtract 2 10s, I'm left with 1 10, or an answer of 14. You can see that using the model method is helping us to speed up, but it's also showing the kids what they're really doing. That they're trying to subtract 1s from a number that they can't do it with. So what they have to do is they have to unbundle 10 1s and move it over to the 1s column. Because 1 10, 2 1s, 12, is equal to 12 1s. I'd like you to take a minute, pause the video, work out the 2 problems that are here, and then turn the video back on, and I will have the work done for you. I hope your work matches this work. And what you may have noticed is that when I unbundle, I choose to show that I'm unbundling using one symbol, which for me happens to be I just kind of do a squiggle through it. And when I subtract, I'm putting X's through my numbers to show that they're no longer there. Unbundling, the number is still there. It's just transformed into 1s. Subtracting, that number is gone. I hope that the video has helped you. We are moving the students into more and more abstract thinking, and they'll start to see some of the ways that you are expecting them to see as parents. But they need to work their way through this model form first so that they understand that they're really subtracting from 13 1s and how those 13 1s got there. If you have questions, please contact your teacher, and your teacher will be able to offer you all the assistance you need to work with you and your child. Thank you.